Welcome to SDH Live here at the future home of U.S. Soccer here in Fayetteville, Georgia. I am Madison Cruz, taking you guys along on what is supposed to be a phenomenal day here in Fayetteville. First of all, we will have Jason Longshore to talk a little bit about the U.S. women's national team's win against Japan in the She Believes Cup this weekend at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And then we will have Stuart Sharp, who is the head of the extended national team here for U.S. Soccer. And then we will have Joey Martin, who is one of the members of the women's cerebral palsy team for the U.S. women's soccer team. So we will have Jason Longshore here joining us now to talk a little bit about the She Believes Cup. What's up, Jason? How you doing?
We can talk about my crazy weekend, yes.
Yes, we will talk about your crazy weekend. So you had the chance to call the game with Jessica Chairman. So how was that experience for you guys?
It was amazing to be able to call it and to be part of that. First radio broadcast for a national team. I know for the women's national team, I believe in English for the men's national team as well. And great response. I know a lot of people were listening. Very, very cool to get all the feedback. It was in the stadium as well. So some of Jess's players that she coaches were there and heard her, which is awesome. It was a crazy day. It was a crazy game. I mean, for Japan to score in the first, 40 seconds? Yeah. And then the response from the U.S. was very strong. So just a great day and record-setting attendance, all of the different things that went into it. And then Jess and I had to go catch planes and get to our regular gigs. So just a crazy, chaotic day.
I mean, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, I remember you guys talking about, booking flights and then getting back there and Twitter absolutely going crazy with if you were going to make it on time or not.
It was close. It was close. I walked into the booth at Citi Field right before the national anthem. So it was that close of getting there. Luckily, my flight was a little bit early. Jess got to Charlotte okay, and I think had more problems with ground transportation. For me, it was just the timing of all of it. And a lot of people were skeptical that it wasn't going to happen. But the flight landed a little bit early. The taxi was moving very quickly until we got stopped kind of close to Citi Field. And then it was walking / jogging / power walking, I don't know what you call it at this point, through parking lots to get to the gate that I need to get into, and then finding my way in a building I'd never been in before. So, again, just chaos, and then that game lived up to the chaos. A wild weekend, but it was amazing to be able to do it. And thank you to everybody with U.S. Soccer for working with Odyssey and 92.9 The Game to deliver the rights so we could do the game. And I thought we did it justice. I thought we captured it well. And then everybody, obviously, with 92.9 The Game and Atlanta United for giving me the opportunity to do that crazy day and getting there and then catching a flight back. So I'm still going on a little bit of sleep. I probably need to get some rest.
I mean, absolutely. I think I'm on my first cup of coffee for the day, but then we're probably going to move on to something else later on throughout the rest of the day. Maybe a Monster.
Number 2, so it's all good. I probably need another one soon.
I also want to talk a little bit about the attendance record. We broke an attendance record here at Atlanta in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 50,644 fans. That is a record for a U.S. women's national team friendly here on domestic soil. I mean, what does this mean for the city of Atlanta going forward, especially it being the future home of U.S. soccer?
I mean, look, it's Soccer City, USA, and I've been throwing that around, and I know some people get a little bent out of shape about that. Some of our friends up in the Pacific Northwest don't like to hear that, but you go back to the very, very beginning of pro soccer in this country on a nationwide level, and we can get into the weeds on history and pro soccer and where it started. And yes, there were professionals who played in the Northeast back in the day, and we're talking 20s and 30s, and absolutely. And that part is very important in U.S. soccer's history. But the first nationwide league, Atlanta was a significant part of it, and Atlanta was really the biggest success story for what we want soccer in this country to be. Where in the past it had been very regionalized and very localized and very based around people coming from other countries and bringing the game here, Atlanta was the place when nationwide professional soccer started that didn't have that. And it started from scratch. And it was literally going out and doing thousands and thousands of camps and clinics to introduce the game in Atlanta and all over the region. That paid off on Saturday. That paid off with U.S. Soccer coming here. It's paid off with Atlanta United's attendances. It's paid off with everything that we see in the soccer ecosystem in this area. And it started from basically scratch. And that's what's so amazing about it. That's Soccer City, USA to me. That's what's so special about it. And you go all the way back to the Chiefs and all the work that they did in introducing the game at that time to now. And it doesn't get to now if that doesn't happen. So that's the story of soccer in this country. It can't just be anymore what at times all of us in the soccer community have wanted it to be, where it's ours. No, it's everybody's. And that's what we want. And that's what this kind of a deal is. I mean, where we're standing, this is going to be the home of the U.S. Soccer Federation. And this is a place that I drove through this area all the time as a kid. I played soccer in Fayette County as a kid, driving over from Clayton County and Henry County, down the road where the old soccer center used to be in Fayetteville. We played indoor there the first summer after I graduated high school when I was back from college, and team of all my old high school teammates played. So, soccer in this area has a history. It's very personal to me, but Soccer City, USA is what we want it to be in this country. And Atlanta's growth in the game, starting from scratch and being what it is now, where you can set an attendance record on the women's national team. Not for the first time either. They did this back in 1993 when it was 5,500 people at Decatur High School. Now, 50,000 plus for the women's national team. We see the 70,000 plus for Atlanta United. We're going to see that more and more and more with the national team. So this is the heartbeat of soccer in this country, and this is what we want it to be everywhere, and where that's going to all start from and radiate from is right here.
I mean, for sure. I know that, I'm a little bit kind of spoiled in a way with how I was grown up with this soccer field. I had access to all these places, and so getting to see it really develop and grow, especially not only on the men's side but the women's side as well, has been huge. Having that attendance for the She Believes Cup, a cup that is all about empowering women and getting women more involved in sports, I think that is so monumental. To have it here, especially in the future home of U.S. Soccer, it's huge. It's huge, absolutely.
Yeah, it's special. And I think what's cool about soccer and its growth in the United States, and I think other countries are coming around to this in different ways, it's always been about everybody. And yeah, it needs to be about everybody on the same level. And that's something that I think has improved and needs to continue to improve. But I grew up playing soccer on co-ed teams. I have always been as enamored and excited about the women's national team and the women's game as the men's game. I mean, I remember the player that I probably wanted to emulate the most when I'm talking about high school and when I was playing in college, in local leagues and stuff. It was Mia Hamm. And Mia Hamm was one of the most incredible players I've seen, period. When I first pair of boots that I bought that were a player's model boots, it was actually the Mia Hamm boots that were generic for guys and for girls. So that was what I wanted because she was one of my favorite players to watch. I remember the goal she scored against England in San Jose, a late night game on ESPN, and all of us were watching it in the dorm at UGA. So, it needs to be both. And I think what's been very, very cool is with this facility, it's not even just going to be the men's national team and the women's national team. It's the extended national teams. We're going to talk to Stuart Sharp in a little bit. It's all of it, and it all has to be treated the same way. And I think in Atlanta, and you've seen it firsthand with Atlanta United games, it is the most diverse place in the city on a match day. And that's every bit of diversity. I think at times we try to be very specific about diversity. Diversity is a million different things. And I think what's very, very cool is soccer in this city is probably more diverse than anywhere else in the country.
I mean, for sure. I mean, when we were talking to a lot of the players after the match of the She Believes Cup, Crystal Dunn said that exact same thing, said that they couldn't have picked a more perfect place because of how diverse Atlanta is and how there's so many different people from different cultures just all around Atlanta and all supporting the beautiful game. I think that's so important, especially when you're creating a new home here because of how many people are going to be so supportive. And even with the extended national teams, I think that's going to be huge and more emphasis on getting those players more involved and getting to see them interact with the community and having games maybe at the Bends for them. I mean, I think it's going to be so awesome to see as it continues to grow and as it continues to get started here. It's going to be great.
Yeah, look, it's Atlanta's story, right? I mean, Atlanta is about diversity, and it always has been. Has it always been perfect? No, it hasn't. But I think the thing about Atlanta, and I always think of a conversation I had with Curtis Jenkins from Footy Mob years ago, Atlanta does an amazing job of adapting and taking what we have to work with and making it really cool. And we don't always have everything to work with that would make it perfect straight out of the gate. But we do a pretty good job of getting there. And that's what's been awesome. And look, that's soccer's story too in this country. So, it's all coming together in a really perfect way. And to be here today where they're going to break ground on the new National Training Center, the first time we've had one of those, where this is going to be the hub for everything. Whether we're talking about the next national team players, the next coaches, the next referees, all of that has to start somewhere. And it's going to start right around this area, which is very, very cool.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think a huge emphasis too, me and Jess had the opportunity to volunteer with AYSO, and that was a big thing here. One of the first camps was here. It was to start it all off, the future home. I think that's so important, especially with growing the game at a younger level too, and having people get involved with it and just having fun playing soccer. And that's so important, especially with the new home of U.S. Soccer. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what happens. We got a lot of stuff happening here in Atlanta very soon in the soccer community, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's all about exposure. I mean, it's about introducing the game. It's about exposure to people that have consumed the game differently than us, that come from different backgrounds, that look differently, that have different lives. It's about exposure. And for me, soccer has exposed me to so much in the world, whether it's places, whether it's people, whether it's experiences. I've learned more about myself and the world through this game than anything else. So that's the power of it. And we've got to continue to use that, whether we're talking about the we of soccer down here or the Atlanta soccer community or U.S. soccer as a whole. And honestly, it's a global conversation too, because, we saw what happened at the MLS Next tournament, and we're seeing these issues pop up, whether it's Spain or Italy or places all over the world. Exposure to others is very important to get past some of prejudices that people have had in their lives. Soccer, for me, I can just speak to it from a personal perspective. I didn't know people from different countries until I started playing soccer. I didn't have that exposure. Growing up on the south side of Atlanta when I did, it wasn't completely homogenous, but I didn't have exposure to the world from here. And I didn't have the means to travel when I was a kid. I traveled through the game, whether it was watching it, reading about it, studying it. Argentina, which I'll talk about all the time. I didn't know anything about Argentina until I saw Diego Maradona play, and then I wanted to know everything about it. So, that's what this game does, and that's what it is to me, and I hope that's what it is for people who consume this show and everything that we do. I hope y'all get that and take that forward, and it's something that we all have to work on. If you're in the game, bring new people to it, bring that opportunity for others to experience what we have, and also, try to expand the net a little bit. Expand it further, bring new people in who either haven't played the game or haven't been around some of your friends who are around the game. And it's going to help everybody grow and just improve the whole process.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again, Jason, for taking the time to talk a little bit about what this means for Atlanta and what's going on. And up next, we will have Stuart Sharp. As Jason mentioned, he is the head of the extended national teams for U.S. Soccer. We will have him on the show, so make sure you guys stick back around, and we'll be right back for that.
Welcome back from the new home of U.S. Soccer. Now it's time to catch up with the head of the extended national team, Stuart Sharp. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be down here, and it's really starting to take shape, right? We've got U.S. Soccer banners everywhere, and we just need to break the ground and hopefully get the ball rolling in a couple of years. So exciting to be here.
When you heard about this idea, all of this greenery behind us eventually turning into the pretty pictures that we've seen and all the practice fields and all that stuff, what was your initial reaction?
Excited. has got to be excitement is the best way to describe it. US Soccer has 27 national teams. The extended national teams department has 9. And this is going to be a home for us all. But really for the extended national teams department, this is going to be a focal point for us driving the game forward, letting people know that there's other versions of the game out there like futsal and beach soccer, and there are disability soccer teams like power soccer, deaf soccer, cerebral palsy soccer. So yeah, excited for our federation, excited for US Soccer to have a home, but truly this is going to be a monumental opportunity for us to showcase the game in all its form across the world.
And I think that that's the cool part of a lot of the cool parts that are attached to this, is that it's not just the soccer that is shown on television and wherever you want to watch it around the world. It's all of the different elements of U.S. soccer that get to be under this umbrella and share this experience. That, to me, it's cool on one aspect, but the education of letting everybody else know, hey, that's not just the only thing that you see out here. I think that the education element in this is a cool part of this as well.
Very much so, and I think that's going to be one of the things that we're going to see different forms of the game on television, right? We're going to hopefully start to see people enjoying beach soccer in the stands here, our little stadium that we're going to have, as well as on broadcasts like yourself. So, yeah, educating people about the different ways that they can enjoy the game, whether it be as a spectator, a referee, a coach, or a player, is one of the opportunities that this building, this facility is going to provide us.
When it comes to the extended programs themselves, for those that don't know your story, how did you get involved on the extended national team side, and what has the experience been like for you?
Yeah, so you may have picked up from my accent. It's not from Louisiana, it's from Scotland.
I was going to say, you're not from Blue Ridge?
No, it's not deep south, although I do stay up in Marietta. I'm an Atlanta local now for 10 years. But yeah, I started out with the Scottish Football Association, and I overseen a department that looked after disability soccer. So when I moved to the States, I became the inaugural coach for the cerebral palsy national team at US Soccer. But during that time, we were under a banner that was called the Other teams, and truly that wasn't the right place for it to be. The other teams were not meant to be the disability teams or beach soccer teams, so we created a department and really an ethos that is around extending the game. This is where it comes from, extending the extended national teams department. It's about extending the way that you can interact with the game, extending the careers of professional players, maybe coming into futsal and beach, and again, like I said before, extending the opportunities for fans, spectators and sponsors and media to really enjoy the game in all its forms.
When you look back, say, a handful of years to where we are now and see how things have grown on the extended side, what's it like to see the involvement increase, the recognition increase, the engagement increase, and just the foreknowledge increase? What's it been like for you this last couple of seasons?
Yeah, I suppose, first of all, I think it's deserving, right? We have several of our teams are world champions. We had last year, we are deaf national team won the World Cup. Our cerebral palsy team our men's cerebral palsy team were runners-up in the Copa America, and our CP women's team are also world champions. So it's deserving that they're now getting this spotlight and this platform, and I think this is just going to be great for the athletes, and hopefully it's going to be a way of inspiring other people to play the game and enjoy the game in a different way.
And then I guess my final question for you is the idea of this being in one of the growing areas geographically of the sport and the knowledge of the sport and the depth of it and attendance and all these different kinds of things. What's it like for you as someone who's been here for a decade to see this now behind us here in the heart of the southeastern United States, where I'm sure a lot of the rest of the United States might be sitting there going, but over the last decade, it really has grown to the forefront of U.S. soccer, regardless of which division we're talking about.
Oh, for sure. When I first came to Atlanta, I would need to seek out opportunities to find someone that could speak soccer or speak football. But Atlanta, since Atlanta United came here, and they've done a great job, it truly has become a soccer city. I know that's said a lot, and it's a bit of a cliche, but cliches are there for a reason, because it's true fact that this town, this city, is all about the game, and hopefully this US soccer coming here is just going to add to it.
It's always great to catch up with friends. head of the extended program, Coach Stuart Sharp. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks very much.
You know, he's going to go because he's got important stuff to do. We're going to send it to Maddie and her interview with Joey Martin on the women's CP side.
Alrighty, everyone. So I am here with Joey Martin, who is a member of the women's national cerebral palsy team for U.S. Soccer. So, Joey, why did you choose soccer? What made you gravitate towards this sport?
I started playing when I was 4 years old, and I really just had so much joy playing. And my parents put me in as many sports as possible, and I always came back to soccer. Soccer was what really made me feel the most joy being on the field. I got to play with my friends, so that was obviously a bonus. But really just the feeling of when I would score a goal or when I would do something to stop the other team from scoring, that was just a feeling I couldn't recreate with any other sport.
I mean, absolutely. And what does it mean for you to get to compete for your country, to compete for the U.S. women's cerebral palsy team? What does that mean to you?
I mean, I have dreamed my entire life about playing for the United States, and I effectively thought that dream was over after I went through all of my health battles, and just having this opportunity has been the most amazing experience ever, and really just this opportunity is something that I'm so grateful for, and the feeling of hearing the national anthem played for the first time when I was playing for the United States, that's a feeling I will never forget. Just knowing how much hard work I had done to get to that point, and knowing how much sacrifice other people had given so that I was able to do this, it's just something I will never forget.
Absolutely. And I mean, even too, I think especially for women's sports and women's soccer as well, how well that has grown, especially all over the country. And also here in Atlanta, like talks about getting that USL Super League team here in Roswell, getting to have that. So getting to see that growth of women's sports for you, what has it been like to watch that develop and you being a part of it all?
Absolutely. You know, I've obviously played club soccer here my whole life. And so I've been involved in women's soccer in Atlanta since I was 4, and really just getting to kind of grow up and see women's soccer grow up almost with me at the same time. It's just been so amazing to see the progress that we're making. You know, there's obviously the talks about the USL team coming here, and just seeing that it's like it all throughout me growing up, everything's culminating, I think, to this moment, to having this training center, to having that team come here. It's just amazing to see this city thrive in a sport that I love so much.
I completely agree with you. My last question for you, Joey, is obviously you're a Smyrna native. You're here in Atlanta, finding out that the future home of U.S. Soccer is going to be here in Georgia. What was your reaction to finding that out, and how excited are you for it to be here and for you to get the chance to come and train here at your home?
Well, initially I screamed as soon as I found out because I was so excited. And I mean, just having the ability to train here and to really focus my training, having a lot more access just to the specific ways that we need to train as extended national team athletes, that obviously is so amazing to have. But then, you know, selfishly, just having grown up here, I feel so much pride knowing that Atlanta is getting the National Training Center and that soccer is something that is an amazing asset to this city, and I've felt that for a while, but now having that recognition being given to Atlanta, it really just makes me swell up with pride knowing that we're getting something so amazing.
Absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you so much again, Joey, for taking the time, and we're looking forward to being here as well. And thank you again for getting the chance to talk to me, and we're looking forward to covering you guys later on as it continues.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Well, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't know. It's probably a bigger word than that, but it'd be a really big word. I mean, I think it's an incredible opportunity, I think, to really recognize it's not really about me. It's really not really about our associates. It's about, what soccer does, and, many of our viewers and fans, and they all follow soccer so closely, to see how much it brings to Atlanta together, our state together. And this facility here is going to be world class. 27 national teams, extended teams, best in the United States, playing here, training here, coaching here. So we're excited to be part of it, and to have our name connected to it is a beautiful thing. Well, I think, Atlanta is a very diverse city. It's had a history of diversity, as we all know. And I think that's celebrated here. And there's a great deal of diversity in our population, and it's growing that way. And to see that, that United Nations of spirit and brotherhood, sisterhood come together in one place, and people on their feet and rooting for, the 90 minutes and plus halftime, and they don't care who's, it's just one big family. And that's a wonderful thing. Symbolically, we need more of that, obviously, in the world and in our country as well. So to be part of a sport that brings people together is great for us as well.
Quite literally a dream come true, right? 2 years, this has been a dream, and to finally be on the land that we're going to build the next home of U.S. soccer. It's going to be home to all of our staff, to our 27 national teams, many youth players, and adult amateur players. And so just to have a place that we can call home, to convene soccer in this country, there's no words to describe it. It is, other than it's literally a dream come true.
Our first clinic was actually on a field where I used to play as a kid. And it was also on a field where I realized I was never going to be a professional player, because it turns out I was playing against someone who went on to star for our national teams, Ricardo Clark. And so showing up there, and every one of our clinics was oversubscribed. The spring break week, so kids showed up with their families, just that, their younger siblings or older siblings wanted to get in on the action. It was such a cool moment for me personally, and such a cool moment for our organization around, how excited Atlanta is, and how excited we are to bring soccer to as many people as possible.
It's incredibly important. We didn't want to just build a national training center just for our 27 national teams. That will probably be the headlines that everyone reads about. But the fact is, we're a membership-based organization. So we want every kid to feel at home here, right? We want to be a part of the community here in Georgia, in Atlanta, in Fayetteville. And so for the kids to grow up, to be inspired by what we're doing here, to aspire to actually get here, I think this is huge. And we'll be a part of the community every step of the way, and hosting events here as well.
We're breaking ground.
I should think one quick thing before you do. I think where we're standing right now is actually where the fields are going to be that are optimized for community use. And so really important to us at the design of this is we want to make sure all the U.S. soccer staff see soccer in all its forms every day. And so it's great that you get to see the world's best players on our national teams, but we want to make sure that you get to see everything.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, that is all we have for you guys for SDH's Live here in Fayetteville for the U.S. Soccer's future home, Arthur M. Blank National Training Center for U.S. Soccer. And I am also here with one of our photographers and one of our fellow members here on SDH. I am here with Sophia. Sophia, what were your overall thoughts? What reflection, looking back at everything from this weekend and then today, hearing all that stuff, what did that make you feel like?
It's honestly surreal as somebody who's been paying attention to the soccer space since I was a kid, and growing up in Atlanta, watching us build soccer in this city from the ground up has just been something so beautiful to watch. And I think having a training center where they're going to be growing the U.S. national soccer from the ground up just makes so much sense for the city and for Georgia as a whole. And I loved hearing from people who have been so influential for soccer in Atlanta, like Arthur Blank, like hearing his thoughts about all this, it was very surreal.
I would have to say the same thing. I born and raised here in Atlanta, born and raised, and just getting to see the soccer grow from not really knowing much about Major League Soccer, only watching the national team, then finding Atlanta United, finding other clubs outside in Premier League and everything else, seeing the growth, how it's developed here has been so special and surreal as someone who played and then kind of fell out of it, but still loved the sport, loved the beautiful game. And it's so great that we're now finally going to have a place here in Georgia to call home. So thank you again so much to everyone for listening today, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much to Stuart Sharp, to Joey Martin, who came on to talk to us, and for Jason Longshore for telling us about his tremendous journey from here to Atlanta all the way to New York. Thank you so much again for listening, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow.